So, today I'm gonna actually be showing you guys how my strategy works. I know in the previous video that I posted, I said I was gonna explain my strategy, which I kind of explained it, but not in depth. So in this one, I'm actually gonna go kind of bit by bit, so you guys have a greater understanding. Um, I will just say this: today, I took a loss today, and I kind of had a conversation with God, and I said, God, I'm just unhappy. I ain't gonna lie to you. Very frustrated. Things are not going the way I want it to go. And, I'm getting kind of mad. So, I literally had that talk with God. And then probably 5 to 10 minutes later, I get on Instagram and I see this guy make a trade. And I'm like, wait, I seen that same market movement today. And I saw that he was also trading ES or SPX. Excuse me. So then I go back to the charts and I'm like, what did I do wrong today? And I kind of just went over and I was like, dude, I've been blaming the reason that I've been struggling out of nowhere. I've been blaming, sorry, I'm kind of getting a brain fart. I've been blaming the fact that we've been going through a fundamental week that it was nearly impossible to trade. And then it happened again yesterday and today. And then I realized, wow, I wasn't winning. There was one specific step in my strategy that I've been missing because I've been getting carried away because I've been having a lot on my plate. And it's something that recently I've developed that I keep seeing. And I'm like, I talked to my friend today and I said, dude, I believe it's one spiritually and two, it's just mentally. One spiritually, as in, I believe that every time I find one puzzle piece to make my strategy come together, I feel like I'm being attacked because I'm getting closer to the breakthrough. Financial freedom, obviously, you know, there's a lot of things that could be attacking me to be like, oh, you know that you care about your freedom so much, but if you get your freedom, then da 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 da. So, I feel like also, it being mentally is I keep having a moment where I get that puzzle piece and then I have something happen or I'm very overwhelmed and then I forget it. So I'm just gonna kind of go over this real quick. And I'm just actually gonna type this out so I can make it as plain as day. Strategy. This trading strategy. So this might be a long video, I'm not gonna lie to you. So might be seeing that 40-minute video. We're gonna go with bias. Oh, oops. Forgot bias. I'll actually do it like this. 1 hour bias. Then we'll go 3, 5-minute bias. Then we'll go. What am I doing? Um, okay, so this is the easiest way to put it. And let me just do this 1 minute confluence as in basically I don't even trade pre-breaker structure anymore. I ain't gonna lie to you. I can really get less for it. Okay, so this is my strategy. I'm gonna show you how I go like super in depth. Let me actually do this too. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, that's looking a lot more better. So let's just go ahead and go with this like how I got it printed. We got news. Okay, and I'm gonna go off today just so I can show you guys this trade. Um, make this more easier for you guys. Okay, so I'll put it to you like this. How I do my filters, I make sure that that's not on there. I keep my yellow folders, my orange folders, and my red folders. I'll let every type of information be applied, but I will get rid of every single pair except for USD because that's the only thing I'm trading. You don't need to have all these other things on there if you're not trading that. Also, I'm using Forex Factory. It's something that's just common. Okay, with it being Tuesday, we saw that at 9:30, if we're trading at 9:30, there was news at 9:45, 10 a.m., 10:01, and those are all things you really need to be worried about. So let's go back into market. Let's go ahead and mark out 9:30. So let's go ahead and see. We already got our news. Let's get our 1 hour bias. We got right here, basically already been swept. So that's invalid. We have a low right here. We have a low right here. And let's just keep it like that. So as you can see, previous high was swept before 9:30. Can't do nothing about that. But gives us a confluence to understand what already happened in the market. Now, this is very critical. So this is the main part that I've been missing in my strategy that I want to show you guys. My strategy obviously is liquidity sweep. I used to say breaker structure. That's not even the case. 1 hour bias and 5 minute bias, 5 minute breaker structure, or I basically just kind of get my 1 hour bias, my 5 minute bias, and then I'm looking at everything on the 1 minute. That's realistically how it is, and I'm just gonna show you because it's better for me to just show you than you be like, well, what does a bias mean? Bias means that I'm literally looking at the market to see which way the market's gonna go, and it's just me getting my bias to be like, all right, if I see these highs get swept, as in a reversal, because price did not want to continue to go to the upside, then I'm looking for sales. If I see these lows get swept, as in a reversal, and they didn't create a continuation, now I'm looking for buys. As you can see today, right at open, once again, let's go with the 5 minute bias. What is right here? I ain't gonna do that right there because that's just a little bit too confusing. I'm not gonna confuse anybody. Let's do this. There's a high right here. There is a high right here. And let's just keep it like that because the NASDAQ printed something different that was more cleaner. So I'll just keep it like this. So if I see right at open, now this is what also has been getting me. I'm like, dude, there was a sweep to the upside and there was a sweep to the downside. How was I supposed to know that it was going to be a selling day? This was what was key. Price needs to take out liquidity. Once liquidity is taken out, then price goes in the direction that the trend is in. This is clearly a reversal. You don't need to sit here and question why the market will not continue to make higher highs with bodies. I mean, it's just clear as day. I can't sit here and make it more simple. And with this being said, we had a sweep right at the beginning of the market. This is what choked me because I forgot that my sweeps is what made my strategy be so efficient. I look at areas of liquidity. Those are your highs and your lows. So with this being a low, it got swept right before 9:30. I should not even be worrying about this. This is invalidated now. All right. Sweep at 9:30 to the upside. All right. Invalidated. All right. Now the last sweep that I needed to understand that this was a selling was right here. We caught our sweep and caught a reaction. As in price tried to go higher. Sellers did not allow them to go higher. and then price started to make the opposite or the reversal. So once I would have seen, it's okay, yeah, the body broke above this, in other terms, breaker structure, but there was a lot of rejection. There was 2 wicks previous to this high, this sweep of this high, and then there was a third wick that obviously didn't push even further. So, and I really hope I'm kind of explaining this to for people to really understand. This is how I would have looked at this. And I caught this, but there was like, let's say if there's like 3 entries. There's 3 ways you could have entered this, maybe 4. After I would have saw market start to make this choppiness, as in price not wanting to go higher and price wanting to start creating these fair value gaps, these inverses, I'm gonna go like this. There was a fair value gap right here, and I'm just gonna leave it right here because I want to show these other fair value gaps. There was a fair value gap right here. That was an entry. Let's just leave it there for now. There's a fair value gap right here. And the best way to put it to you is, you could have entered off of the first fair value gap that you saw or the first inverse. You are taking a risk when you do that because sometimes you're not allowing market to print things. We are on the lowest minute time frame, which means a less chance of a high win rate unless you really know what you're doing. Now, with the strategy that I use, and if I actually use all of my confluences, this strategy is on point. It is super on point. I've explained this to my buddies, and I've explained this in my previous video. Your strategy is 100% win rate when you follow your rules. It ain't 100% when you don't follow your rules. So, with me seeing these fair value gaps, I'm like, all right, which one do I want to risk? Which one do I want to get in? My most comfortable fair value gap to get in would have probably been this one. Now, when I looked at it from, I think it was my broker, probably just on my trading app, this wick right here was actually in the zone. I could have entered off of this first trade I got right here, and I probably would have when I'm in the actual trade, but this was just realistically the cleanest trade to hop into, and I'll explain why here in a second. Target would have been, um, it could have been this low, it could have been this low, because we did our bias, and then it ended up hitting the previous 1 hour low. Um, Try not to lose you guys. But I'll explain this real quick. Sorry, it's literally 1 o'clock. I'm kind of getting sleepy. Okay, so the reason I would have said that this was a better entry is because once again, you don't want to enter off the first reversal for value gap that you see because you're taking a risk. News could come out. We saw that news was at 9:45, 10, and 10:01. News could have just said, all right, let's go ahead and push this price higher and then let's start making lows. But no, you actually got a breaker structure, one right here. You got a breaker structure with this candle. Like price also showed you right here that it continued to go up, but then it couldn't. Well, how do I say this? Price showed you that it couldn't go higher. So it's made a higher high, a higher low, then it made a lower high, and then a lower low. That's how you know when you have a solid entry. You're not getting in just by off of fair value gaps. You're not just getting in off of a breaker structure. Like if you have one confluence and that's your strategy, you're crazy. Sorry. That's basically saying that if the market's going up, I'm just gonna enter, and if the market's going down, I'm gonna enter. That's not how you need to trade. It really isn't. You're not gonna You're not gonna learn anything doing things like that. And I haven't seen a trade like this because I forgot my steps. It's really hard when you got so many things going on at once. I literally told my wife today when I was at work, I was on the phone. I was like, she's like, "What's wrong with you? You just sound so down." And I'm like, "Well, to be honest, I got a lot going on. One, I got bills to pay for because my wife is a stay-at-home mom now. I got freaking work to deal with that I'm at all day, and then I go to the gym. that takes up my day too. I also have a family that I barely spend time with. This is hard. I also got to make YouTube. I also need to start eating healthier. I also need to start sleeping more. So like my days are crammed. You know, I have my moments throughout the day where I have a smile on my face, but then sometimes when I get off work, I'm exhausted. And it makes me sad. It makes things hard because I don't really have time to really focus on things. And then it's like you start expecting things, you start wishing things, you start feeling things. Sometimes it's just really hard. The simplest way to put it. I'm not gonna sit here and BS you. It's hard sometimes. But you will always reap a good reward when when you put in hard work, man. Life's not always just gonna be easy, but it's better that it be hard and you be challenged and you actually grow from it than it be hard and then you just stray away and then go hide in a corner and then let your life be hard for the rest of your life. And then you find some comfort and then you just give up. That is not what God intended for your life. No, sirree. But as you can see right here, right at 10 o'clock, that's what this gap created. That news that we talked about. I know I just randomly changed the conversation, but this is that news. This big old gap right here. So this was a clean trade. To be honest with you, I shouldn't have tried to trade it on Monday because with me understanding my strategy, when God gave me clarity, um, that's just being greed. Entering off of just a random fair value gap, that's greed. And, coming in here and actually showing you guys this and really putting it into practice, I'm just showing you how much it really works. Like, for you guys don't know what IVG is, it's a fair value gap. For you guys don't know what IFVG is, it's an inverse fair value gap. It's basically saying that a fair value gap is respected with the trend. Inverse is the opposite. So, excuse me, this is an inverse because one, it was supposed to go this way, but then it also ended up being retested off the opposite side. This is a fair value gap right here. Come on, come on. Because one, we are also seeing that price is starting to go in the opposite way, and then we see a fair value gap as in a wick. I mean, we see a retest off of this fair value gap, and then we see a wick. So that's a respectable fair value gap because it's going in the trend that is being shown. The inverse is going opposite of the trend. So that's just an easy explanation. It's just gaps in the markets. And if you can get an entry off it going the opposite way, inverse, if you can get an entry going it in the correct way, as in according to trend, that is a fair value gap. Um, that's just realistically it. I know I didn't go too much in depth on this video. I just wanted you guys to really see how easy this is and to give you clarity that if you do not have reasonings to why you get into the market, you're gonna get your butt kicked. Now, when news is being played out, you need to be careful. I will say, even when news is played out, when I use this correct strategy, it works no matter what of news. There's a very few times that it doesn't work. Now, the reason I got cooked last week is because one, I forgot that specific I forgot that specific step and it got me cooked. But now that I remember, I'm like, excuse me. Now that I remember, I'm like, dang, how many trading opportunities were last week? But then I kept making excuses, so I never saw a trade. So you live and you learn. I can say this too. I literally talked to my buddy this morning, and I asked him. I said, "How many times have we been profitable for 3 weeks straight?" And before he even said anything, I answered. I said, "Never." So we are getting somewhere. I would get one win a week. I would get one win, three losses in a week. And I would just keep repeating it, repeating it. I would catch one win, then I would catch losses, loss. The thing is, when you can actually start catching wins, and then you can get it on a repetition of wins, we're getting somewhere. And it's good that you do it on demo because you're testing yourself. You need to have a test while you're in a demo. Don't get into a funded account to make that be your test. Because one, now your raw emotions are involved, and then one, you don't know what you're doing, and two, you don't have a strategy, and three, now you're just wasting money. So what are you testing? Your patience. And sometimes it's not worth testing your patience when you don't even know what you're doing. So, I mean, that's just basically key. Test your strategy until you can start to become profitable. And it doesn't have to be real physical money for you to become profitable. Be profitable because you actually realize that you got to a certain amount that you tried to get to. Dude, I got cooked so bad. I was up 1388. You know what my account is right now? My demo account is freaking 675. I was positive for 3 weeks. Was going on my fourth week, which would have been a whole month. Why did I lose more in 1 week than I gained in 3 weeks? I lost one piece of my strategy, and it cost me more than I ever gained. That speaks volume. It shows you how important that one piece is in just life in general. So, and glory be to God that He revealed it to me. I'm not gonna lie, it's been hard, man. I've been challenged every single day, and God has been good. He's been faithful. Have I been? Absolutely not. Have I been good? Absolutely not. I try to spread my testimony that I consider that's the best that I do is spreading my testimony, putting a smile on other people's faces, and moving along. So, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do and pray that God just give you the strength and really give you the peace because He's the only one that can. You cannot receive peace from sinning. You cannot receive peace from going on walks and getting your drive, shifting gears. Like, those are my pieces, but there's no peace like Jesus. I promise you that. There is no peace for the lives that we live because we are wicked. Don't care how holy you are, you're wicked. Don't care how much you read your Bible, you are wicked. I'm pretty sure that people that have the right mindset, we read our Bible because we are wicked. I'm not saying wicked as in like you were cursed and you were evil, but we are living flesh. So you ain't no different from me. It's just the difference that we do is the decisions that we make. I could sit here and be on a whole streak of not doing something wrong. That doesn't mean that I'm not evil. It just means that I have better self-control. All it takes is one thing to throw me off, and then I can go back to being in my flesh. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys got to be honest with yourselves. Yeah, I'm a Christ follower. Yeah, I love Jesus. Yeah, I love the Holy Spirit and I love the Father, and I read my Bible and I do all these things good. But it's not about what I did; it's about what Jesus did. It's about what He did on the cross, what He does daily, what He does for us all. He allows us to breathe air. He didn't purchase this air; He gave it to us. And that's the reason that we are all living to this day. You were gifted a new opportunity at life every single day that you wake up. And that is amazing. It really is. Because you dictate if someone's going to have a smile today. You dictate if you're going to have a smile today. You dictate if you're going to be obedient today. You dictate if, I hope I'm saying the right word. But you can make change. You can really change the world by one simple thing. And I'll be honest with you, a smile goes a long way. I'm gonna be honest with you, there are some people out here that attitude ain't cute. They smile is. It's the best way to put it. And always I say attitude, it was just the cleanest word to say. A smile changes a lot of things. So embrace your smile. Allow God to purify you. Let you go through the fire. Because it is a blessing. Read your Bibles. Invest in yourself. Really understand what you came from. And this is the thing I'll leave you with. For some of you guys that are going through things, if you have an iPhone, why would it make sense for you to go to an Android store? What makes sense at all? For you people that have an Android, why would it make sense for you to go to an iPhone store? It doesn't make sense. So, if we are God's children, regardless if you love God or not, what makes you think that some man, some woman, something, some idol, some toy, some person other than Jesus is gonna help you be set free from the things that you go through? That no, don't get me wrong. Some people do get set free. But I'm talking about a set free that is not just the norm. The thing that is unbelievable. The weight that can be taken off of you as in only Jesus can. So, go to Jesus. You are his child. You don't want your child going to some other man or woman asking for guidance because you won't give it to him. Go to your father, please. He's more smarter than you think. He knows more than you think. But to wrap it up, God knows all. He is above all. Ain't nothing gonna beat him. So I will continue to make these videos. I will continue to show you guys my slip ups, my mess ups, my just me. I'm going to continue to talk and speak. I will start talking more about scripture. I will also start talking more about how I'm going to start doing these videos concerning like how I'm actually going to teach people how to trade. Like go in depth. I'm just showing you guys piece by piece. This is just the beginning of it. Like this is not me actually teaching you guys how to trade. This is just me showing you my strategy. When I teach people how to trade, it's going to be so different, and I want everybody to fully be engaged. So, in due time, it will come. So, I love you guys.